And welcome to the Fixed Wing Guy channel with me, Stuart Lomas, and I hope I find you very well today. Looking a bit dishevelled, don't really know why, but hey ho. Nice morning, lots of potential for a lovely day, and so I believe the weather here in the UK bodes well for the beginning of next week, which is of course the first week of Wimbledon. Tennis, my favourite sport, the only one I really follow, love it to bits, always look forward to Wimbledon. Thumbs up. This video is a reply to a friend of mine, Simon Crane, and his watch value for money and Power Reserve Gimmicks video that he made. I think it was a couple of days ago, not sure, could have been yesterday, lose track of time, you know how it is. I think potentially this could be a really short video. I could say to him, Simon, I agree, thanks a lot for watching, bye. Let's take the first bit first, watch value for money. Simon was talking about, or asking the question, that is there actually a lot of difference between maybe spending 400-500 quid, so what's that, about $620, up to £1,000, £1,200 or $1,500 maybe, in the watch world. Now, kind of this is a tricky one, because you're going to get people out there who will always go to the upper echelons of the price range, within that price range, if that makes sense. They will much prefer to spend 1,000 quid because they perceive that you are getting more for your money. Now, there's an old adage that basically says, buy cheap, buy twice. Well, I think I said this in one of my other videos a long time ago now. In the late 1960s, early 1970s, when the British car industry was spending more time on strike than it was actually making cars, the Japanese came along with Datsun. And the Datsuns were cheaper, better equipped, nicer looking, more modern, but more importantly, more reliable. So that kind of throws that adage out of the window that, you know, buy cheap, buy twice. Not necessarily, because in those days, if you bought a Datsun, you would know on a cold and frosty winter morning that you would go out to your, I don't know, your Austin Maxi and get into it, and it might not start, but you get into your Datsun 120Y, turn the key, vroom, and off you go, and away to work you happily troll. Sometimes does it bear fruit? Yeah, I guess it does, you know, buy cheap, buy twice. Sometimes if you economise and you go out there and you buy some real tap piece of whatever, you're perhaps going to end up kind of taking it back. But on watches these days, generally, my opinion is that manufacturers either can manufacture due to better technology, cheaper machinery, so their setup costs of their factories are less, buying in from the Far East, which we know full well. A number of the manufacturers under the Swatch umbrella are doing that now. There's a video out there circulating at the moment. Somebody wanted an extra link for their Omega bracelet, and it arrived through the post with a shipping order, and at the bottom of the shipping order it said made in China. So with everything kind of coming down in price as far as production is concerned, and in the future of course you're looking at the 3D printing of watch cases, even as was demonstrated at Basel World this year, 3D printing in precious metals. Production costs should come down, so the labour costs are not quite as intensive, so potentially buying cheap doesn't necessarily mean buying nasty. So to go back to the point, I thought a little bit of a ramble. I think Simon's right. I think that potentially, if you go out and you've saved your £500, and you go out to a reputable dealer in the high street, one of the big jewelers, find a watch that you like that is maybe £600. I am sure if you pull out a wad of sweaty notes, you will be able to haggle your way down to the £500 that you've saved. And would the difference be perceivable between a £500 watch or a £600 watch and a £1,200 watch? From my perspective, I have to say no. The only difference from my perspective is what name is on the dial. You know, you go out there and you spend 350, 400 euro on a Steinhardt, for instance, or an Aramar, or, you know, I know that Guido likes the Aramar. It looks a great looking watch. And then you go to get something that is £1,000 that will do the same thing, but maybe it has the Oris name on the brand, which is obviously, as we're aware, the lower echelon of Swiss manufacturers, but a Swiss manufacturer anyway. Are you getting anything really better? I have to say no. And I kind of carry that forward to even the more expensive brands, and there's going to be a lot of people out there who thinks that's complete nonsense, but I do find myself agreeing wholeheartedly with this from Simon, that if you're looking at £500 to £1,000, £1,200, you may as well head towards the lower price, because you're not going to get the differential that you might want to see for your money, unless of course you're buying the badge. And there are a lot of people out there who will buy the badge and they will pay for that privilege. So Simon, for me, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think your perception of what you're thinking about at the moment is spot on, mate. I really do. As far as the other bit of your video being the the Power Reserve gimmick, well, three things possibly. Excuse me. Wait a minute. Pineapple juice and lemon. It is a gimmick. It is the latest selling point that manufacturers are coming up with. Because, as you quite rightly say, you know, you'll get the salesman saying, "Oh, of course, and this is the one that comes with the 55-hour Power Reserve." Makes never no mind to me. The reason is that all the automatic watches I wear are in my watchwinder, which I own too. If I didn't own a watchwinder, would it really bother me if I didn't wear a watch for a few days and I had to restart it? No, not really. Is life that busy? I know we see all these adverts and programs on TV say, "Oh, we all live busy lives these days, and that little gadget can make your life easier." I don't perceive that busyness with the people I know who have to work for a living. I don't see that busyness. With good time management, your life doesn't have to be that busy. Therefore, why is Power Reserve that important? Is it something that is important to some people? If it is, if it's important to you, let me know, and let me know why. My view is, if a watch is nailed together quite well, and it has extra mainsprings in there, or double barrels, or whatever, which allow it to run for a longer period of time, then all to the good. It's an extra piece of kit in there that makes our lives easier, that kind of thing. If you are worried about your watch stopping, buy a watchwinder, put it in, your watch will never stop. Better still, if you're really, really concerned about your watch stopping, buy a quartz or a kinetic, or a solar, because then you'll never have to worry. You know, what's quartz technology battery life now? 5 years, something like that. And I know that Jeffrey McMahon's been going on about being unable to fully charge his Kinetic, even when he's doing power walks. Well, you know, that's fine, but once it's fully charged, it will be fully charged as long as you wear it. So Power Reserves, yes, again, Simon, you're absolutely right. It's nonsense. It wouldn't sway me. Let's put it that way. You know, when I'm ready to buy later this year, if I go in and I'm looking at two particular watches, and I equally like those two particular watches, and the price is about the same, but the salesman says to me, "Oh, Mr. Lomas, now obviously the Omega only has a 48-hour power reserve, and the Rolex, of course, has the 55 or 60-hour power reserve." You know, if there was a £200 or £300 difference in the price, perhaps for the Omega, possibly, the Omega would be going home with me, regardless that the power reserve was a little bit less than the other watch. Now, it is a gimmick, but companies and the authorised dealers for those companies have to push whatever they can to get the sales, and it's as simple as that. But this kind of ties into the video that I made a couple of weeks ago, I think now. You know, why do we buy watches with all the functions on that we rarely or ever use? I got a lot of feedback saying, oh yes, I use my chronograph on a fairly regular basis, and that's fine, but that's not everybody. I know it's not me. The tachymeter around the bezel edge, distance over time, really? I don't know, mate. I really don't. I think I think you are pushing against an open door where I'm concerned. It is a gimmick. It isn't important. It seems to be the latest trend, as it were, where kind of colours came in at one point, and that was the latest trend. That different bracelet designs came in. That was the latest trend. You know, manufacturers and their ADs have to push the latest thing. Now, if you're watching this, of course, and you say, well, I don't have a watch winder, so therefore it's very, very important for me to have a long power reserve. Well, you know, how long are you not wearing your watches for? And kind of how long does it take you to start wind them or bump them the following morning if they stopped? Is your life that full? And as I said before, if it is that full, get a quartz. You know, something that will actually make your life easier, you know. I think there's a lot of gimmicks out there. But for people, lots and lots of people, gimmicks sell goods. That's what they do, you know. 3D television, for instance. It was a gimmick. It's flopped. Massively flopped. I think manufacturers are actually moving away from that now, and it may well be the case that certain gimmicks, functions within certain watch brands that don't sell well or don't increase sales will indeed flop, and it will just become part of the mechanics of the watch. They won't even mention it unless somebody asks. So in full support of you, Simon, with this one. It makes never no mind. If it does, good for you, but it's no different having a chronograph or a tachymeter or a helium escape valve or, you know, whatever else. It's just yet another thing. So that's it for this one. There will be more today. I just wanted to reply to Simon on this. If you've not been here before, have a look through my old stuff. See what you think. It's not all about watches. There's some other, what I consider to be interesting stuff out there, and what some of my subscribers consider to be interesting stuff. A little bit off the wall. See what you reckon. Any questions, any queries, any whatever, down below, as always. You can contact me. My email address is out there. Any ideas of any videos that you want me to put my spin on, down below. And thank you very much indeed to my 2 new subscribers that I got since yesterday. I didn't even log on yesterday, I have to say. My car had to go in for a recall. The airbag management system had misfired on one of the models of my car somewhere in the world, so Ford had to recall them to have a module replaced. So I was a busy boy yesterday. So that's it for this one. As I say, there will be more today. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.